Hey looters, Flutes here. I love rogues. It's one of my favorite classes, and today I want to look into each of their subclasses, deciding which ones are the best, which ones are the worst, and my thoughts on why I feel the way I do about each subclass today on Flutes Loot. Quick reminder before I get into each subclass, we have an article about this topic that this video is based on, and you can visit flutesloot.com and use the link in the description below to read along with that article and see a lot more than what I will talk about in this video, because in writing I go over a lot more things than I do verbally in these videos. My ranking of each subclass is based on 5 things: game design, fun, power, versatility, and teamwork. Those are the 5 things that I use to kind of evaluate how good a subclass is. In my article, I ranked them from 1 to 5 stars on all of those criteria points. I then took the average and gave them a ranking of like 1 out of 5 or 5 out of 5 based on how well they stacked up to that rubric I was using. And now I'll go through them in alphabetical order. First up is the Arcane Trickster. You probably already know this is one of the best subclasses in the game, matched to its class. It's a rogue that casts spells, and they're spells that are relevant to what a rogue does and just allows them to do so many things that other rogues cannot. 5 out of 5 for this one. The main flaws with the Arcane Trickster are that its level 17 ability, Spell Thief, won't let you steal spells that are higher level than what you can cast, so you don't want to use it on a high level spell that could really like ruin you, but you do want to use it because it could ruin you. So you could potentially negate a high level spell and that's it. But if you use it on something smaller like a level 3 counterspell, someone trying to counterspell you, you could potentially absorb that, take away that spellcaster's ability to counterspell you for the rest of the combat, and you can start counterspelling when maybe you didn't have that spell before. So it can be cool, but it's just flawed. Just keep that in mind if it's a high level spell being cast on you. Spell Thief is better for negating it and not like turning it back on them. You'll gain cantrips like Booming Blade and Green Flame Blade to augment your single attack each round. You can learn Haste, Fly, Powerful Enchantment, and Illusion Magic. And a lot of them won't even depend on investing in your intelligence score for a high DC, because a lot of your spells that are coolest for a rogue to use are just self useful and or on your allies, and there's no saving throw involved. So you can just focus on your dexterity, constitution, whatever, and you don't have to go heaps into your intelligence. I really love that this subclass filled a gap in what I wanted when I was doing the playtest for 5th edition D&D Next, because I loved when I played Baldur's Gate as a kid, being a rogue and a wizard. It was just like this really cool concept to me that seemed like a lot of other people liked as well. Imoen in the game actually physically does that by force when you get to Baldur's Gate 2. This combines the two, because when I first started D&D Next, I was like, I'm going to be an assassin rogue. That was really cool. And I'm going to multi-class as a wizard. But then the playtest ended and we had the Arcane Trickster, and I was like, that's what I am. I am that now. And so the Arcane Trickster is just so good. Next subclass is the Assassin. It's the subclass I really want to like, but it's just so niche and not it's just not great. The leveled abilities beyond 3rd level and until you get to 17th level are just like a drought of like, I could have done these things already probably, with some multi-classing, a feat, or even without those things, just a DM that I roleplay with. The Assassinate ability is really cool. Poisons don't get used a lot with the Poisoner's kit. That's kind of changing. Tasha's kind of gave you a feat now to be better with poisons and everything. A lot of creatures are immune or resist poison. So Assassin is better if you're playing in a campaign where you're doing a lot of political intrigue, sneaking into noblemen's houses, taking out political figures or corrupt people. But if you're going up against monsters and undead, it's not as good. And so kind of know your audience, I guess, of who you're going to try to be assassinating before you pick Assassin, because it's just very flawed. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. It's something I want to like, and I actually just wrote an article that's scheduled to publish soon about how to fix the Assassin class. If as I'm talking about this now, go open up a tab on flutesloot.com and open up my Assassin revision, because I think you'll really like the changes I made. The Inquisitive Rogue is next, which again gets a 2 out of 5 like the Assassin. It's just a lot of benefits that are so niche for like a very specific type of campaign. It could be really strong in those campaigns. Again, these are just subclasses. Like, you're still a rogue, you're really cool, but the subclass itself is not adding enough to what the rogue can already do, or like any character can already do. And so the Inquisitive is just not as great as other subclasses for the rogue, especially because it focuses on things that don't come up a lot. Like, a lot of DMs don't enforce you to do like search and those sorts of things as actions, even though like technically from the rules they should. It's just, in practice, I don't see a lot of people playing that way. Again, any of these things that I rate lowly, they still have their place in the right campaign. Like, if you've ever watched the Dungeon Dudes videos when they go over different subclass rankings, they even say that like some of the worst subclasses can be S tier in the right campaign, and I totally agree with that. The Mastermind is next, which I gave a 4 out of 5. I think I'm more generous with it than others. I really like the concept of being able to use the help action as a bonus action. That alone can make you the best teamwork character on your team. Your party will love you. You can just bonus action do that, do your thing with your actions. Obviously, your bonus action is a hot commodity as a rogue because you have cunning action. But if you kind of keep your distance and are using a crossbow or something, it's much easier to do. If you're an expert in using cover, so that you can actually position yourself so that you have enemies or more durable allies between you and those that would attack you from range, you can use your misdirection ability very effectively. It's tough to do. Hopefully your DM won't metagame and like try to like not have people in between you and them. Remember that allies and enemies, like, their bodies are a portion of cover for you. It's often overlooked that people just do range attacks willy-nilly without considering that there's people in between them and their target. They usually only worry about that if they roll a 1. The Mastermind will make your DM think about that. Yeah, but the Mastermind is something, I don't think there's anything in it that's a trap, and its main thing is being able to help as a bonus action to be like a chess player, and your allies are your chess pieces, and I think that plays into it really well. Tasha's came in hot with the Phantom Rogue. I really like this concept. It's thematically so unique to the rogue, and it allows you to deal damage in different ways, and do better with a little bit of crowd control, because you can attack more than one enemy with your attack and then your wails from the grave. You're effectively a better interrogator because you can capture souls and like get bits of information from them. You can switch up what things you're good at if you need certain skills. You'll eventually be able to phase through walls. Wow, like you're just some ghost robbing people. There's so many abilities here that are so unique that you don't really see elsewhere. And as a rogue, you are 5 out of 5 playing the Phantom, ready to rob and kill or whatever you're into. You'll have fun playing a Phantom Rogue. I'm looking forward to playing it. The Scout Rogue is one of my favorite rogues. I love playing a Tabaxi Rogue and just being very mobile, climbing up trees, setting up ambushes, and just being very mobile and all over the place. Some people say this is like what the Rangers should have been. To an extent, that might be true, but I like this for a rogue. I love gaining more skills, especially with expertise in them, and just being good at a lot of things as a rogue. I remember when I first played D&D 5e, my first character was that rogue that I told you about. I loved expertise. I loved being good at things and seeing the other players just wowed at how much I'd be deceiving people and stealthing around. And the Scout allows you to do more of that. You get more expertise, more skills. You're good at being in nature. I recommend having a mount as a Scout so that you can ride in on your mount, scout things out, and then return to your mount. That's a real concept from military that even works today. Might not always be a horse, but the concept is still there. I give the Scout a 4 out of 5. It doesn't do anything game breaking. It's just a solid subclass that is so much fun. The fact that you're a Scout already encourages you to do scouting. Try to help set up ambushes, where the assassin tries to just get ambushes for itself to get like critical hits, but the Scout is invested in getting a whole party into position to ambush people. The assassin could do that too, but the Scout has better tools to do it, and I think it's really cool. The Soul Knife from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, I initially was like hating it, and then I was like, I gotta read this one again a few times and try to really figure out what it can do. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 when I was gonna do like a 2, maybe a 3. I like that it can gain invisibility for 1 hour without concentration. That's kind of nuts. You can also gain what is essentially like a Misty Step as a Soul Knife rogue. Again, like an Arcane Trickster could do these things too, So the main thing I want to focus on is that invisibility for 1 hour with no concentration. Sure, you can also like summon a weapon so you can become a threat out of nowhere to people, but becoming invisible is a game changer if you don't have to concentrate. I recommend if you're playing a Soul Knife to pick feats that give you spells that are good and require concentration that you can use while invisible. Detect thoughts from the telepathic feat would be excellent for a Soul Knife. You can infiltrate an area invisible while reading everyone's minds. Super cool. You could also take the Shadow Touch feat to learn darkness so that you are creating an area of darkness out of nowhere and no one knows what's happening while you start robbing their cabinets and they're trying to figure out what's going on and you're invisible. Like those sorts of things where like you can do two things at once that usually you can only do one on your own, and now you could do both. That's just cool to me. And so I gave it another chance. I gave it the 4 out of 5. And I do like that the Soul Knife uses its Rend Mind ability with Dex going into your DC instead of like one of the mental stats like you're a spellcaster. So that at least was smart because a Soul Knife shouldn't have to like beef up a certain stat in order to use that DC at a high level. Swashbuckler is next. Some people rate this so highly. I don't get it. I still give it a 4 out of 5. It is a solid subclass, but I don't think it is nearly on tier with the Arcane Trickster or even the Phantom or even the Thief, which we'll get to in a minute. I think the Swashbuckler is cool and it allows you to be a rogue that is a little bit less of a rogue, honestly, because you can sneak attack just when you're dueling someone one-on-one, and you can goad people into attacking you while your allies can do other things. It's cool. I like it. I think it's overhyped a little bit, and I'm surprised how many people I hear, like when I see like different D&D games being streamed online, people are like, oh, I'm a rogue, I'm a swashbuckler. And I'm like, another one? Why is everyone a swashbuckler? Be something else. That's how I feel. 4 out of 5 still, solid subclass, overhyped though. I mentioned it a moment ago, the Thief. I give the Thief a 5 out of 5. I love the idea of a thief surprising someone, or even not surprising them, and taking away their weapon, their arcane focus, or anything else as a bonus action sleight of hand in the first round of combat. They have their fast hands ability to do this. You could go attack someone and swipe something off of their belt. You know, you can retrieve valuable items that you normally would have to fight someone until they're dead, and using your action to do the sleight of hand would not be an effective use of your time. But rogues of the Thief subclass can do both. You're also very mobile in that you can climb around with your second story work, so you can jump better if that comes up in your campaign. You can climb better. You can use items that other people wouldn't. If you find a spell scroll, remember, usually a spell scroll, if you want to try to cast it, you still have to be of a spellcaster type with that spell on your spell casting list. So a wizard could not attempt to use a spell scroll to cast Bless, unless there was some other way that that wizard knew the Bless spell. A thief could do it, and they don't have to have the spell slots or anything. They could attempt to use items like that. There aren't heaps of items that are limited by your class or anything like that that the thief gets around, but if your DM is going to reward you for being a thief, you are going to love finding items like that. Being able to use an object as a bonus action is also amazing, especially at low levels. You can use an alchemist fire potion, flask, whatever you want to call it, to start someone on fire while still attacking them as your main action. Stuff like that is so rare. And I know a lot of people like to homebrew a rule that you can do quaffing of a potion, a healing potion to heal yourself as a bonus action. I don't love that, but thieves can already do that. That's one reason I don't like homebrewing it, that just everyone can do it, because thieves can. I know people say, well, if there's not a thief in your game, that you're not downplaying the thief because there's no thief in the game. And I'm like, yeah, sure, but I still like that the thief has it built into its class that it can use an object as a bonus action. Think about all the items that you would like to use in combat, but you're like, is it worth my action? And the thief doesn't have to worry about that. Bonus action, let's do both. And the thief's high level ability to be able to act twice in a round, that's amazing. A lot of the rogue abilities really drop off and are front loaded at level 3, which is cool, but their high level abilities don't keep up. The thief has a great capstone ability at level 17. These have been my thoughts on the rogue subclasses just from like 1,000 feet up looking down on them. Not super detailed. Look at the article if you want to get a few more details. But those are my ratings. I stand by them. I give them a lot of thought. I don't do these rating systems lightly. I put a lot of thought into it, and I really care about getting them right for how I think they deserve them. So let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. I love having these discussions, and part of me putting thought into these things is I'm very open to having my mind changed, and you may just open my mind to other things. So check out our other videos by me or by Opal, my wife. We do this channel and our website together. It's just a husband and wife endeavor of ours. And so check out flutesloot.com, check out other videos, like and subscribe, please. We really love trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. It's something we watch every day, and we like seeing the growth of our audience and more people engaging with us. So yeah, seriously, cast message in the comments below to get a discussion going about these rogue subclasses, and I'll catch you in the next video. Until then, take care. Flutes, wishing you a happy game this weekend. See ya.